James Robinson, who finished running back 24 last year in his sophomore campaign, 164 rush attempts, 764 yards on the ground, 8 touchdowns, 31 receptions on 46 targets, 222 yards through the air, 0 touchdowns. Guys, what are our thoughts on James Robinson?
I think Robinson is very much a wait and see candidate, right? We're waiting to see what reports come out. We're waiting to see how, OTAs and training camp shakes out and what kind of reports we're getting out of Jacksonville. That being said, when he does come back, I think he's a stash guy for late in the season, maybe some fresh legs. There's a possibility, depending on, you know, again, the injury report and what that looks like, mid, maybe top end RB3, right? ETN's going to take a bulk of that, but they are going to be able to spell those two. And as the season draws on, if he misses the first part and ETN kind of takes that early wear and tear, you'll see more James Robinson as it goes on to make sure ETN stays fresh for the entire season and kind of build upon his redshirt rookie year.
James Robinson holds a special place for me as an FCS guy. Look, he was a workhorse back in college, as you've heard me say, at Illinois State. Like, as he went, so did the Redbirds. That's how that offense operated. He single-handedly got them to the playoffs, for his years there. He was the sole reason, because they had no quarterback while he was there at Illinois State. He had a lot of tread his rookie year too, right? Like, remember, he was that fantasy darling, the guy that, kind of came out of nowhere, basically got handed the keys, and Jacksonville tried to run the tires off of him, and he wouldn't quit, right? He was that Energizer bunny that just kept going and going and going. And a little bit of regression there in the second season. Urban Meyer didn't really like him. There were some things there. Turns out nobody really liked Urban Meyer there in Jacksonville. And so I think, the coaching change does him some good. I think Doug Peterson understands the importance of having multiple backs that can help you win and can get you yards, right? And slow the game down a little bit, especially for Trevor Lawrence, who, the game's got to be just incredibly fast for him still. Throw out last year because it was such a tumultuous year down there in Jacksonville. So I like James Robinson. I think obviously the luster has worn off, but in the right spot, James Robinson is a guy that, you can put on your bench, use him spot starts if you need to. But if you expect what he did his rookie season, then you're going to be sorely mistaken. So as long as you temper your expectations when it comes to James Robinson this year, I think you'll be happy with what he gives you. It's not going to be the same as what it was his rookie year. And certainly, last year was kind of an abomination.
Yeah, you guys both bring up some really good points there. Like James Robinson last year was boom or bust, right? He was either really good at giving you an RB1 week, or he was really bad. Really only had a couple of finishes inside RB2 territory. And for the most part, the rest of them were RB3 or worse. So again, he was a boom bust play last year, coming off of an Achilles injury. I already stated earlier that Achilles tend to take a lot more time for bounce back on running backs. There is what we've seen there. Now, seen some injury reports and some timetables giving him where he may be back for training camp, preseason type of work there. But again, I think that that's going to be a longer bounce back than that one. I've seen some early rankings out there where people are ranking him as RB40 going into redraft season next year. That's pretty high for me on that one, just from a draft standpoint and all of that. I think that, you guys mentioned it, that he's a stash play potentially for later in the year. And at that point, if I'm doing a stash play, I don't know that I want to spend a stash play on a guy coming back from an Achilles injury that is going to be going in, right around pick 90 to 95 in that range for an RB40. So, that's putting him in the 8th round, 9th round type of draft capital there. I don't know that I want to spend an 8th or a 9th round pick on a guy that I'm banking on potentially being back for the back half of the season and stashing him there. In a offense that is going to be as muddled as this one when it comes to draft season. So I'm out on James Robinson this year, which pains me to say, because Alex, off of your advice going into his undrafted rookie season. Picked him up everywhere I could. Just as the Leonard Fournette news was breaking that he was being cut, was on this guy while everybody else was trying to scramble for Darwin and Gumbawale or Rockwell Armstead and all of these other running backs that they had in the room. Took your advice, jumped on that one, and rode that bandwagon the last 2 years.